Hello and welcome to episode 2 of the Tea in Tokyo podcast. My name is Somya.
And my name is Ellie.
This is week 2 of us being in Tokyo. We've had quite a hectic week. We managed to fit quite a lot in.
So, first of all, we saw our first lot of a large amount of hentai at the Comic convention. Pretty shocking. We spent New Year's in Shibuya, which was pretty cool, in Tokyo, and we went to Yokohama and we went and saw some really beautiful scenic gardens.
Yep, all that and more coming up right now. The first thing we did this week, right before New Year's, was go to the Comic convention. For those of you who don't know what the Comic convention is, it's basically a comic book convention, similar to Comic-Con or Armageddon, that's held in Tokyo.
But it's more based at like amateur artists, like it's not so much for like the big popular shows.
Yeah, that's right. So you won't see like the Avengers or anything like that here. It's basically just for people starting out. It's a huge convention that lasts like 3 or 4 days, starting in December 29th, going to the 31st. We went on the very last day on the 31st. Tickets, I think, were like $700. Oh no, it was a thousand. It was 1,000 yen each. Yeah. Now, if you ever think about going to this, get your ticket beforehand. You can get it at like bookshops or something. We didn't do that because everywhere you look online, it always says that the convention is free. That definitely is not true. It used to be free, but starting from this year, moving forward, there is a price now.
Which I think is because they have changed locations, so it costs more now.
Yeah, that's right. It's at the Tokyo Big Site, which is like one of the greatest buildings I've ever seen in my life. It's so massive. It's like an upside down, that Jewish toy thing. What is it called again?
A spinning top.
Yeah, a spinning
it's like
top.
An
yeah. A dreidel. Ellie didn't know what a dreidel was.
Nobody knows what a dreidel is.
But yeah, so we had to wait in a line for so long just to get our tickets before going in. The line was like an hour and a half long. I think one thing we actually noticed just from that line is how respectful Japanese people are.
Yeah,
right?
Like we were talking about how if that had been the same line, it basically like it went around itself a bunch of times, but there was nothing to separate each individual section of the line. And if that had been in New Zealand, everyone would have like just shoved in front of each other, but the line like stayed as, you know, a single line.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy, eh? So yeah, that took like an hour and a half, but then to actually get into the convention was super easy. Like there wasn't any line at all, because the place is just so big that everyone can just file in. So yeah, so in the convention itself, we were expecting like just a lot of like comic book things, you know, new superheroes, that kind of stuff, maybe like manga kind of stuff.
I was planning on buying some like, I don't know, I was hoping there'd be something there I could buy, like a cute keychain or something.
The actual experience that we had was a lot different from what we were expecting. The first thing that we see when we walk in are just things to do with transport, like trains, like planes, mostly trains though.
There's a lot of train related stuff.
Or like just train stations. Like these are comic books based on trains, I think, right?
I couldn't tell if it was like, I thought that maybe it was like a guide for future artists on how to draw those places. Like I couldn't tell what the reason behind so many train related things was.
Yeah, we don't even know what that was.
It took
but
like
it's just
a
lot of trains.
whole haul of just like train and transport related stuff.
Yeah, so like we said before, like Comic is just amateur comic makers. So there's manga artists. So there's like 1,000 people in there probably, creators, and there was a good probably like 100 just for trains. But of course that didn't compare at all to what we saw next, which is we went into the next hall. There was like 4 halls there. We go into the next one, and the very first thing we see is hentai.
So much hentai.
Yeah, a lot of hentai. Ellie was pretty shocked because this is her first time ever seeing hentai.
Like they literally like, and it would just be like fully naked, and then put a tiny bar over the main bit. But that doesn't take away from like the fact that you still know exactly what is happening.
Yeah, they can't actually like show the bits.
So like nipples and like
yeah, but they show everything else, and it's like super obvious what everything is. It's super graphic.
Super graphic.
But it's like a little band-aid on the specific parts that they're not allowed to show. And yeah, and there was a lot of hentai. Like there was at least 2,
I'd say
3.
Most of the halls were just hentai.
Yeah, like about 80% of the entire thing was hentai.
Sonya thought it was hilarious. I was kind of disappointed because I was expecting to get to see like a bit more, I don't know, like find some like fun new artists, but instead it was like just porn. Like
Yeah, I thought it was really funny. We kind of knew that Japan had like this hentai underbelly kind of thing, but it turns out it's not an underbelly at all. Like it's right out in the open, and there's
People
a
were just
lot
like
of it.
walking around with their t-shirts with like the drawings on them and like their bags, like no shame.
Yeah, it's really weird. Like
Not that
people-
they should have shame, but maybe a little bit of shame.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. Like people are lining up
To buy,
to
especially
buy hentai to like
was-
buy like t-shirts and stuff.
it was upsetting for me mainly when like how much it like normalized like child rape. Like that was weird that people were so proudly walking around with like stuff with children on it, and it was obviously children.
Yeah, a lot of children-related hentai. Like it's called loli, right? Loli.
Lolita,
Yeah, Alita. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really weird to see as like a foreigner because in New Zealand, if you try to do anything like that, you'd probably get arrested, right?
And I wouldn't mind if it was like, say, more obvious that it was like an adult character who had like a childish face, like, you know, like if they had boobs or something. But this was like just straight up children. Like it was
Yeah,
obvious that they
yeah, it
were
was.
children. Like it was weird.
And there was just so much of it. I think it was the pure volume of it. That
Yeah,
was also,
I swear I was like in
outrageous.
shock walking around.
Apart from that, though, there were like a couple of other things that were interesting. Like there was this one guy who had these designs that looked a lot like Howl's Moving Castle.
Like little steampunk.
Yeah,
And they like
steampunk
moved
kind of
and stuff.
designs.
Like they were really cool pieces of artwork.
Yeah, and you can buy one for like 10,000 yen or something. We really wanted to get one of those, but we don't really have anywhere to put it. And like, 10,000 yen's still quite a bit for us.
We haven't started working yet, especially.
Yeah, exactly. And then there was also like a lot of stuff related to cats.
Which was great. I wish there'd been more cat-related stuff.
Yeah,
That would've made
by
me
a
happy.
lot though we mean like 2 rows worth, right? That's
Yeah, compared to like 50 rows worth of hentai.
Oh yeah, like way more than 50 though. Yeah, so there was some other stuff to enjoy there, but I think even the hentai stuff, like it was an experience, and I think the whole point
It was pretty crazy.
of us
experience.
coming to Tokyo is to experience as much as we can.
I thought it was cool to see all the people cosplaying, even the ones who were like in like overtly sexualized outfits and then selling photos of themselves. It was kind of weird, but like it was also
Well, yeah.
like cool to see them like being confident in their creativity and making their costumes was pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's like the 2 things we haven't talked about yet, which is people do dress up. There's a lot of cosplay there, so if you're into cosplays, this is like a really good place to go. They actually do have like a fashion show kind of thing with all the cosplayers, I think, but you do have to pay a little bit extra to go see that. But if you don't want to pay that, that's okay, because there are cosplayers walking around everywhere.
Yeah, and they're really amazing, honestly.
Yeah, especially outside. If you ask, you can probably like take photos with them and stuff. We didn't do that, but you definitely could
You
have.
definitely ask, like,
Yeah.
they're people.
And then on the inside, like Ellie was talking about, there are people who are playing specific characters, I think. Like,
Or
it's
just
like,
their own character.
yeah, it's their own character. They're dressed up and they're selling like posters and t-shirts with like their faces and
And
dead
just like
bodies and
photos
stuff.
of themselves, like, in like sexual positions.
Yeah. We couldn't tell, like, we don't know if these people are like semi-famous or not. Maybe they're like big Instagrammers or something.
Yeah.
They could be, actually. If we look them up on Instagram, there might be some that are actually quite big.
Probably. They were all like really attractive.
Yeah, for
Except
sure. Yeah.
I was disappointed in the fact that I think we literally saw one like good looking guy cosplayer and he wasn't even that good looking. The rest were all just beautiful women. Like, where are the men for me?
Yeah, Ellie was pretty disappointed about that.
You know?
Yeah, there's no guys at all, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's plenty of girls, so that's fine. But yeah, apart from that was basically it. It was basically just a hentai fest. I don't think we'll go next year, will we?
Nah, I probably wouldn't be interested.
Yeah, there's nothing really there for us, I think.
Like,
yeah,
it was a good experience. I'd recommend going
for sure.
once.
Especially
but-
for 1,000 yen, because
Yeah.
that's like $11-12 from like New Zealand dollars and like $7 US or something. So I definitely recommend going at least once. It's a huge event. Like there's like 100,000 people there. Like we had never seen that many people until actually New Year's.
Yeah.
Or we probably saw more, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Straight after that, we went to a ramen place in Omari Station. Amori Station. And Ellie managed to find her first vegetarian like ramen. Like that's like a good one, right?
Yeah, although I'm still not 100% sure if the broth was vegetarian, but I didn't taste and all the other ones I've had, I can definitely taste that there's like fish in it somewhere. But this one
Yeah.
seemed to be potentially vegetarian.
Yeah, the broth is always.
I think it was a miso based one.
Yeah, you can never be too sure about the broth, can you? We probably need to learn how to ask, but the thing is, they might not even have like a miso, like a
Well, I've
vegetarian
asked
broth,
for it in
right?
the past, and they'll offer me.
But the broth
fish one.
specifically.
Oh no! Even when I've asked in general for like something with no meat, I'll just be offered the fish, which is fine. Like we expected that coming here. that it was going to be a bit difficult. And I've been talking to a girl on Bumble, and she actually recommended an app for me the other day, which I haven't downloaded yet, but apparently she's been using that and it's helped her find some places because she's vegan. So that's kind of cool. So I think I'm going to download that and then maybe use that, because she said she hasn't struggled at all with finding meals in Tokyo.
But I think, like, we've definitely learned that you can, like, ask them to, like, take out the meat, right? And they probably
most
will.
of the time they're okay with it if it's not, like, a pre-made meal. Because it's so easy. It's literally just, like, when you're making it, don't add the meat on top. That's all.
Yeah, but you do need to specify that, like, that counts fish as well. Yeah, because like we said last time, like, they don't really think of fish as meat here.
Yeah.
They think of, like, fish as basically being a vegetarian. Like, that's just so, like, ingrained into, like, what they eat.
Well, it's kind of like how, like, until recently, you know how, like, lately there's so many, like, different types of, like, vegetarian and vegan, like, depending on the specific thing that you eat.
Yeah, true, yeah.
I feel like this is still just more like what it used to be, you know? Like, vegan used to be what vegetarian kind of now is, and now, like, they've all gone the different extremes.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. And then, so we did that on, like, the 31st, I think. Or maybe the 30th, actually. I don't think we did that on
No,
New
that was
Year's
the
Day.
31st, because then I just napped that night until
Oh, wow, man, we had a really busy
We had a long day.
New Year's evening. So we did Comic Cat, like, all day, and then we came home, managed to nap for a couple of hours, and then it was, like, time to do New Year's stuff. So we weren't really sure what to do on New Year's. One thing I found out is that I like other major cities. Like, if you go to Sydney, if you go to Taiwan, if you go to, like, Auckland, anywhere, like New York, the big thing is obviously the countdown and then the fireworks. Turns out Tokyo doesn't really do fireworks.
Yeah.
You know, they've got, like, two really tall towers, like the Sky Tree and then the Tokyo Tower, that they could do fireworks off. But yeah, fireworks are not a thing here. So our plan was to go see fireworks. That wasn't a thing. So we had to find out what to do instead. And of course, the big thing here to do is to go to Shibuya. Shibuya Crossing, which is, like, the most busiest crossing in the world. On New Year's, they close down the whole thing. And it just turns into, like, a big New Year's Eve party.
I feel like it was specifically a New Year's Eve party for foreigners, because I swear the whole time we've been here I've not seen that many foreigners. Like, I feel like foreigners almost outnumbered Japanese people there.
Yeah, for sure, yeah.
Like,
but yeah, so before we went there, we just stayed at home just drinking and stuff.
Yeah, we went and bought some convenience store alcohol, which is still weird that you just buy it here. I find it weird when you buy alcohol here, right? There's, like, a little screen, like a touch screen, and it just asks you if you're, like, old enough to buy it, and you just click yes. Like, they don't ask to see your ID, they just trust that you're going to be honest. And we are old enough to buy it, obviously, but it just felt weird that they just totally trust you to be honest.
Yeah, we probably look old compared to Japanese people.
Yeah, true.
I reckon. That's probably what it is.
All those years of
and also, like,
exposure.
we're foreigners, like, they probably know, these guys didn't grow up here. Otherwise, they'd be speaking Japanese to us.
Yeah.
They moved recently. You're not going to move when you're, like, 10, so, like...
I suppose you can also buy it in, like, a vending machine, so...
Yeah,
There's
true.
not really anything to stop you
Yeah,
from
we
buying
haven't bought
regardless.
alcohol in a vending machine yet, so I don't really know how that works. Like, I don't know how they can tell what age you are.
I don't think they do. They just trust.
So we bought a couple there, came back, and we just played drinking games back at the flat.
Yeah.
Until, like, 11:30ish or something. So we wanted to go to Shibuya. We found out when the trains were coming and stuff. We went and we completely missed it. So
We didn't. We missed it by, like, a couple of minutes.
yeah, we missed it by.
Our train was just a little bit too late for us to get to Shibuya for the
Yeah,
countdown.
we were like on the train station before Shibuya, and I was looking at the clock in the train. I managed to get a good Instagram of it, just when it, like, clicked over from 11:59 till 12.
Yeah.
So we celebrated, like, New Year's
On
in
the
the train.
train.
Yeah. But then we got to Shibuya. Man, it turns out, like, Shibuya Crossing is right next to Shibuya Station, and, like, it was pretty packed there. But one thing I noticed is that, like, we got there at, like, 12:01, and so many people were already leaving. Like,
Yeah.
that party ends
12
like,
o'clock on the dot.
Yeah, and then once we finally got to Shibuya Crossing, they were saying their goodbyes, and that was it. Everyone kind of left.
Although it was still pretty crazy busy. It was just that everyone was kind of, like, vacating the area.
Yeah, there was
already.
nothing happening on stage anymore, though.
Yeah.
Like, that was done. So, yeah, so if you want to go to New Year's in Shibuya, you know...
Don't go late like us.
Yeah, don't expect there to be anything after 12, because there really isn't. Apart, like, unless you want to go to clubs or something.
Yeah.
But, like, just the normal stuff, there wasn't anything like that.
So we wandered around for a couple of hours, though. It was still pretty busy, pretty cool.
Yeah, we ended up walking around for, like, until, like, 2:33. Went to a restaurant there. And, yeah, like, if you want to meet other foreigners and you're, like, you're coming around that time, this is probably the best time to do it.
So many foreigners
like, in New
everywhere.
Year's. Yeah, they're everywhere. They're all outside, like every 7-Eleven, every convenience store.
Being rowdy, making us all look bad.
Yeah, pretty much.
Rudeness.
That's like a big thing, like hanging outside convenience stores and like just drinking and stuff. Because, yeah, the drinks are so cheap. Like, it's a lot cheaper than going to a bar, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually, I actually quite like that.
But yeah, we couldn't even find any, like, chill bars to hang out with, which I was surprised about. Like, I thought that there'd be a couple that, like, on, like, street level, like, not clubs, but just, like, bars to hang out at. But we only really managed to find, like, we ended up finding, like, a ramen place and getting some food to sit down.
Yeah, and I was way too drunk for that, and
So
it was
we were
just
very
too...
drunk.
Yeah, it was just, like, too much food. I ordered a lot more than I could actually have, and I felt like crap, and then straight afterwards I was like, alright, sweet, I'm done.
Which I was
Need to go
pretty
home.
happy about because I wasn't as drunk as Sonia, so I was ready to go home. I didn't want to be a downer and, like, make us leave early, so I just
Yeah.
waited until he was, like, dead.
Yeah, I was absolutely
Wanted to
dead.
go.
When we got home, I slept in, like, 0.1
I've never
seconds.
seen someone fall asleep so quickly. It was pretty crazy.
Yeah, I sleep quickly, like, in general, but, like, if I get drunk,
I don't even think your head was on
Yeah.
the pillow and you were asleep.
Yeah, no, probably, actually. So we did that for New Year's. The next day we did absolutely nothing. Like, we stayed at home the
It was
entire
great.
day.
I set
Just
up the
relaxing.
PlayStation. I played PlayStation. I spent my New Year's playing Dragon Age.
Yeah, Ellie's replaying Dragon Age for the 30th time.
Obviously, again.
But yeah, that was good, though. We kind of needed that. Just
Yeah.
do absolutely nothing. Because then afterwards, we did quite a lot the rest of the days. So it was nice to just have a rest.
Yeah.
The next day we went to the National Museum of Science and Nature because we heard that there was like a New Year's event thing there. Before we went to that though, now that's in Ueno Station. I still don't really know how to pronounce that properly. It's
U-E-N-O.
U-E-N-O, yeah, you know.
Ueno?
Ueno?
Ueno? I think it's Ueno.
Nah, definitely not like that many syllables. I think it's Ueno. Yeah. Anyway, we went there. That's like a real great place because there's like a park right next to it, right? And then the park, there's museums and like art galleries like everywhere around this park. It's
we went to
basically
a
like
shrine, like a really beautiful shrine.
yeah, it's like the Smithsonian in Washington D.C. where like there's just museums everywhere and like in a block. So yeah, so if you want to go to any museums or anything, that's the place to go. Before we went there though, we had our first ever sushi in Japan.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. We've been wanting to have sushi for a while now. Like, we've had a lot of ramen.
So much ramen.
But yeah, I was super excited for the first sushi. Well, like, one thing we're actually really surprised about in Japan is, like, there doesn't appear to be as much sushi as we were expecting there to be.
Like, for example, on our main street in our area, I'd say that, like, you walk for, like, a few metres and you've already passed, like, 10 ramen places and there's one sushi place on our street.
Yeah, a lot more ramen than sushi. We're thinking that's probably because, like, ramen is a proper meal, I guess, whereas sushi isn't. You can get a lot of sushi in, like, convenience stores, though.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of, like, to-go sushi. But in terms of, like, actual, like, restaurants that have sushi, definitely not as many as I was expecting.
Yeah.
Now, the other thing is, in New Zealand, we have a type of sushi which I didn't realise how weird it was until I saw my uncle a couple of months ago who lives in Canada, and I told him about chicken sushi. And he was, like, so shocked. He had never heard of that before. And I was saying it so casually, and he was like, what the hell are you talking about? Turns out they don't have any chicken sushi in Canada.
When we say chicken sushi, we mean it's like teriyaki flavoured cooked chicken.
Yeah,
inside
cooked
a sushi
chicken
roll. Not
in
raw.
a sushi roll. Yeah. Turns out they don't have that anywhere else in the world. Like, that's a totally New Zealand thing. Or like a New Zealand, Australia thing. They have it in Australia as well.
Because it's like the most popular type of sushi.
Yeah. So, yeah, we definitely knew that we weren't, going to get that in Japan. But that's okay. We like fish sushi as well. Like, Ellie likes, she has vegetarian sushi, obviously.
Some cucumber.
Yeah.
Some very, very sour fermented plum.
Yeah. So we went to this sushi place. Ellie had her fermented plum.
Although we got really confused. We thought when we were ordering it that you got like one piece. So I ordered like a bunch of different types of sushi, and it turns out it's like 8 pieces per thing. So I ended up
Well,
with
the picture had like 6 pieces, but then on the underneath it in the description, it has
said
like the
one
big
piece.
one. Yeah, it had like a 1 and then the price. So we thought you were only going to get 1, but apparently 1 means 6. Like
I think it must
one
mean
of the
one
picture.
roll chopped up, but we
Yeah.
didn't get that.
Turns out, the picture is exactly like what you get.
Yeah,
I think it means like one picture.
Good.
Yeah, it's more value for money than we thought actually. I had like a salmon sushi and like
Benito?
bonito, which I don't even know what that is, but that was great. Yeah, I had a couple of different ones. California roll, which is like ones that I loved. Yeah, man, sushi's so good.
Yeah, I
honestly.
had egg sashimi because I ate eggs, and that was good.
Yeah, and you can see like the pro sushi chefs like in the kitchen just working away and stuff, and it just looks so professional and like nice, and And we didn't even go to like a fancy sushi place. This is a really cheap place.
They yelled a lot. It was really like fun, you know.
Yeah.
Someone would come in the door and everyone would just like, it would be like a progression of people yelling to let the people know upstairs that there was like a customer.
And like everyone that works there would be like welcoming you, like all shouting and stuff. And like
it was really
they're
friendly.
super
It was
friendly.
really cool, yeah.
Shouting in a friendly way.
Yeah.
But yeah, so then after that, then we went to the National History Museum. We didn't even get to look at the whole thing because it's massive.
Yeah, we just saw the
yeah.
Japanese part of it, and then there was a like global part that we didn't see.
Yeah, I think if you want to go to any museum, like this is a general rule, like anywhere in the world, like you have to go super early if you want to see the whole thing.
Whereas we
But
went
it's,
like midday.
yeah, it's so tiring going to see the whole thing though, and it's like it's so cheap as well. It's 600 yen per person to get in.
Yeah.
So we thought like it's not that big of a deal if you only see half and then see another half another time.
We saw like 4 stories
Yeah.
worth of museum items.
Yeah. I'm glad we saw the Japanese side of it. That was really interesting. Like, it shows you the history of, like, scientific discoveries in Japan. And also, like, the nature of Japan, like, all the animals that are here.
Yeah.
It's got a lot of taxidermied animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, which we thought, like... Which we realized was, like... It's so weird just to know that that was, like, a real animal.
Yeah, it's just
And
a dead
now
body
it's just,
that's
like,
stuffed.
stuffed. Yeah. But they do a good job of it. Like, it looks nice.
Yeah, they look good.
Yeah. So, yeah, the museum was okay.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good
yeah.
experience. It was like my feet hurt by the end, so I'm glad we didn't see the whole thing. Because
Yeah, for sure.
after that one building, I was kind of like ready to be over it.
Yeah, we'll definitely be in that park again though to go to all the other like museums, art galleries, and whatnot. One that we're gonna go next week. They have a special exhibition, so it's an art gallery, and they've got a Van Gogh exhibition which ends on the 12th of January. So
Although when
we
we
need to
were
go.
there, the line for that was ridiculously long.
Yeah, that line was really long. Like it was probably like a good 2-hour line.
Probably, honestly, longer. Like
Yeah,
it was
it
like it
stretched
was
super
winding
far.
so far around.
Yeah, so for that one, like we definitely have to make sure we go early. If there's any like special exhibition, make sure you go early, or make sure you don't go around New Year's. I think
I
that's
think
the
it's
other
just because
thing.
everyone had time off, so it was the time for them to go.
Yeah, true. That's probably the main reason, actually. But yeah, so we'll be doing that next week. So we'll talk about what the Van Gogh exhibition was like in the next episode of this podcast. The other thing that we did this week, which was great.
Top tier, number one.
Yeah,
this
top
week.
tier was the greatest thing that we've done in Japan so far. So yesterday we went to Yokohama, which is a city about like 30 minutes from Tokyo.
It was weird though because we caught the train, the same train, single train, and it was like there's no point where Tokyo ends and then there's farmland and then Yokohama begins. It's literally just like continuous like cityscape, and then you realise that you're already at Yokohama.
Yeah, we're not used to that in, like living in New Zealand, you know. There's like very clear boundaries between cities.
Like there's a lot of farmland between each city.
Yeah, here I don't know how far you have to go here to see this farmland.
Yeah.
Like, did we see any on the bus from the airport?
Nah.
I don't think we did.
Nah, it was just straight into the city.
Yeah. But yeah, so we went to Yokohama. Specifically, we went to like a garden. It's called the Sankeien Seiken Garden. This was a really cool garden. Like, basically, you get off at a couple of stations after Yokohama, like the main station, and you have to like bus for like 10 minutes there. Take like the 101 or the 58 bus or whatever. There's quite a few that go there.
Yeah.
And then it's like a 5-minute walk away, and it's like this really big garden. Now we thought that we had to, that you go in for free, that it was just like a normal park. Turns out it's not. It's like a proper like historical park where you can see like old buildings and stuff like that.
So 700 yen entry.
Yeah, it was 700 yen, which is all good.
Yeah.
And like to be honest, we were happy to pay that once we got in because like they've done such a good job of it. It's definitely worth the entry to get in
Yeah.
there.
Like if I lived in the area, I would 100% get an annual pass. 'Cause
Yeah,
it was just
yeah.
so
I don't even know if
beautiful.
that's the thing, but you would.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah. Oh, it was? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
that's-
Well, yeah, we knew this was going to be a great place because as we were walking there, so a big part of our personalities really is that we like cats.
we're
isn't it?
cat people.
Yeah,
we're
we're cat
animal
people.
specifically cat people.
Yeah, specifically cat people. So, like, we know that, like, Japan has, like, cat islands, which we're definitely going to be going to at some point. So that's going to be a great podcast. Like, that will be the happiest podcast we do. But until then, like, we've been, like, looking around, seeing if we can find any cats because we know that Japan has, like, a cat fetish kind of thing. And, like, we were walking there through, like, these suburbs and we couldn't see any. And then we saw one through a gate, and we're pretty excited. We're like, oh, sweet, like that's it, like that's all we need to see.
We'd literally before this, we'd only seen one cat in all of like where we've been, and it was like super feral, and I couldn't get it to give me love. I was trying for a while, but it was
that's why we couldn't get any love either, just because it was like behind a gate and it was all fat and happy in the sun. But then like straight after we saw that one, we saw another cat crossing the road. We were like, holy shit, there's a cat right there. And then we like turned the corner, and then there's like two more cats. We're like, okay, what the hell's going on? There was so many cats. Turns out, like, we actually went to, like, a cat garden.
Well, not like, quite. It just had a lot of cats.
Yeah, it had a lot of cats, but they're, like, super friendly. You can go up to any one of them and, like, pat them. They just roam free.
Get all the love. They sit right by the entrance, so everyone has to pat them as you walk in.
Yeah, so that was, like, awesome.
The beginning of a great trip.
Yeah, for sure. So, what we saw at the cat... it's not a cat garden. What we saw at this garden... It was pretty cool. Like, they've got, like, historic buildings. Like, the oldest one that we saw was, like, from 5 AD. Like, super old.
Well, that wasn't a building. That was a, like, a tomb. Like
like a tomb, sorry, yeah.
It was, like, from 5 to 6 AD. There had been... So, like, the person who... It used to be owned by a family, the garden. Like, I was reading up on it. And, like, one of the people who owned it in, like, the 1920s, he basically imported a bunch of historic, like, buildings from all over Japan and, like, had them moved and relocated to his garden. So it was quite cool because you got to see all these, like, temples and shrines that had been, like, moved from, like, Kyoto or, like, all over the place.
Yeah, that's right. And, like, because it's, like, a garden, there's a lot of, like, nature there as well. Now, we went in winter time. Like, it's winter, obviously, right now. You know, obviously, there's no leaves on the trees or anything. So it's, like, it looks a lot more open. And I feel like if you go in summer, like... nature will kind of like enclose the entire thing, and it'll like be a lot more cozy.
Well, it's like a cherry blossom viewing place as well in the
spring.
Spring.
Right, yeah.
So like a lot of the trees, like when we were there, looked like dead. Like they looked beautiful and cool, but they had like no leaves. But I know that, you know, if you went later.
True, yeah. So we should go back in the spring for sure. This is a great place to get photos as well, because you can get photos next to like, you know, ancient tombs and ancient like buildings and stuff like that.
Like
and
a
then,
shrine from like the 1300s.
Yeah, exactly. And then you also have like the nature, and there's like a big lake right in the middle. There's like ducks, and there's storks, and there's ravens, and there's
herons.
Cats everywhere, obviously. Crows. Oh yeah, crows. Yeah, man, I always get confused between a raven and a crow. And there's also like a building. Like an old like Japanese style building that you can walk into. You can walk around, you can like see all the different like furnitures and tools and like everything that like an old house would have had. I don't know how old that was though. Like when was that from like the 19th century?
That one was either from the 18th or 19th century, I can't remember.
Yeah. So yeah, but this like by far I would say this was like the best place we've been to so far. Like we were so happy.
We got food there. We had our first sort of like street style food. We got dango.
Yeah. Dango,
brown sugar dango, which was delicious, and they brought out like free tea, which was cool.
What is a dango?
So it's like a like ball of like it's flour and something else ball on a stick, like four different balls on a stick, and then they flavour it differently. And we got brown sugar.
It's like a dessert thing.
Yeah, like one that you'd walk around with normally, but we sat down.
And they gave us free like tea and stuff with it, which was great. It's just a great place, just like sit down, like chat. And,
totally recommend. I think it was like the number one on like, you know, things to do in Yokohama.
Yeah, it's true. So it's not like
there's a reason for it.
This isn't like a secret location where they're telling you about.
It wasn't that busy though. Because it was winter time.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and even though it was like around the New Year's time where people are still on holiday, it still wasn't that busy. And it was also the weekend as well. So like
there was lots of people there, but it wasn't like crowded or anything.
Yeah, it's the one place I've seen where like cats and birds live in harmony. We saw like,
and there was lots of little fish, like koi fish there.
Yeah. Like right next to there was like a cat, a fish, and a bird like right next to each other just chilling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like where do you ever see that? That's crazy. But yeah, that was like the last thing we did this week, and like it ended off this week really well.
Yeah.
Like, that was like the perfect thing to end this week off with.
Yeah, we spent like we probably left it like just before midday, and we spent like 3 or 4 hours wandering around. I'm pretty sure we saw all of it. We got confused. I think it was bigger than we thought it was. We definitely saw the inner gardens, and I think we saw most of the outer gardens.
Yeah, they say like there's like two things, inner gardens, outer gardens. Yeah. But I think we did see it all because like...
Yeah, by the end we saw it all.
Yeah.
But we kept on being like, man, is there more to this park? Like...
Yeah, there is quite a lot to see. Like it's definitely a day trip. Like try to go early and you can stay there for as long.
Like 3-4 hours that we did was like a good amount of time.
Yeah, yeah. And it only takes 30 minutes from like Tokyo. Actually, Tokyo Central probably takes like 40 minutes.
From our train station, Amori, I think it took including like walking to the train station, like, you know, catching the bus, walking from the bus to the, I think it was 45 minutes or 50 minutes.
Oh, yeah, so the entire trip is 50 minutes.
Yeah,
So,
so
yeah,
that
so maybe like an hour
includes
from the city centre then, from Tokyo. Yeah.
Because we caught the, what is it, the Kaihen Tohoku
Yeah,
line, which is like the blue line.
Yeah, just go south on that line, and it's easy. Okay, so that's pretty much all for this week. So we'll
So
see.
we got Comiket, we had New Year's, and we got to see like a really cool garden. It was like a good week, like a solid
I was
busy
super happy
week.
with this week. All right, well, thank you very much for listening to this week's podcast. You can listen to us on Deezer, Stitcher, on iHeartRadio, YouTube, wherever it is that you find your podcasts. Also, if you have any suggestions for the show, give us any suggestions on where we should go and what we should see, please let us know. You can reach us on Twitter at T in Tokyo. That's TEA in Tokyo.
And we also have an Instagram that is T_in_Tokyo that you can also message us on and follow along with our adventures in photo format.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be posting quite a lot there, not just the podcast, but just, you know, whatever we're up to during the week. So yeah, give us a follow and we'll see you guys next week. See ya. Bye, guys.
Bye.